Hello and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Jibberish.
Charleston.
How are we today, Jack? I'm not
Good,
really.
actually.
To be honest, this week I think we've been a bit like passing.
Yeah, passing ships in the night. Yeah, been flat out at work.
Yeah.
Cricket. I played cricket Wednesday night. You played
Well,
football last night.
To be, I know, but I'll find out about that.
Yeah.
Bad news
busy
on,
week.
Bad news on the under 15s and 19s this week.
Yeah, we just didn't get over the line, didn't we?
No,
Didn't
under
do that.
19s probably should have done.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game, like topsy-turvy all the way through. But in the end, what did we need? 7 off 6
Yeah.
with one batter in 90 something like that, and got one more, I think, and lost 5 wickets.
Shocking. And 15s just probably fell a little bit short. We're just short of players. COVID hit, a couple of sick boys, a couple of dropouts. We put a good score on. The same lad that scored 90 for you scored 102 for me.
Oh, yeah.
Single-handedly put a great run score of 127 off 10 overs. And they whittled us down because we had no ball in it.
Yeah, I mean, when you messaged me saying I'm about to put a bowler on who can't really bowl,
I think he got thumped for 30. And that was just his lines.
but good run for both of them and good
Yeah.
development, and where cricket was when you started and when I started, it's a million miles away.
Yeah, and the under-15s now entered the DASA one, which they should have a fairly strong chance if we get the full team together.
Get the full team together, get out of COVID injuries, 3 games next week, all group games next week.
Yeah, ooh, big week. Right, so how have you gone on personally?
Try to think back. So let's work back last Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday, a tie game.
Yes, I remember you texted me and I looked and I was like, tie, does that even happen?
Yeah, so in days gone by, in a day game, like a 2-day, 3-day game, or in traditional league cricket back in England, the only way would be a tie is if you had the same amount of runs and the same amount of wickets lost.
Okay.
In white ball cricket, if you want to, like limited overs cricket, if you've got the same score, it's just a tie. Now, obviously, you'll probably watch like the IPL and things like that. They have a super over to actually get a winner or loser. In our cricket, that's not the case. So it was a tie. So we were obviously Clint wasn't available. When another couple not available, so we probably weren't at full strength. And then in the warm-up, Nav, our opening bowler, did his calf. So he'd done the stretches and all that jazz, and we did some fielding, and then as I do, batters go for a hit and bowlers went to bowl, and he literally his first ball and his run-up. So he wasn't even at full tilt, just to gently get through his action, calf popped.
Oh dear.
Now, luckily, we had another lad who is over here, I'll tell you this early, so he's coming over with Loughborough University because they're over here on pre-season. So I think they arrived today or tomorrow, but he'd come over under his own steam for a few days of acclimatisation and to mix with Jay. So luckily it was on hand, so he played, and he's a very good player. So, but yeah, we managed to post 174 on a slow, low, turgid pitch. We probably didn't go hard enough, early enough, probably in hindsight.
Just for the listeners out there and for me, what's a turgid pitch?
Turgid, so just very difficult to play your shots on. So a little bit like we watching a test match, a little bit like the one in the West Indies at the minute. So as soon as you try, you can stay there, you can do, but as soon as you try and really go through with it, and also their bowlers are very slow, their quick bowlers are still slow. So difficult, but we got to 175, so you got it in the game. And to be fair, we fielded really well, and the boys bowled well because we were already a bowler short, then another bowler short, so 1 or 2 lads stepped up to the plate. And it ultimately came down to, I think it was 13 off the last over. Was it a wide that shouldn't have been a wide. Then we got a wicket. So you're 11 off 4, you take that. Oh yeah, 1 wide, wicket, 11 off 4. And then I'd come in, and this is if there's ever a typified the kind of cricket we're playing on Dubai cricket, there's lads just spotted a decent ball, and this guy's just gone like a golf swing. It's gone so high in the air. We're I was at long on, and other lad was at Cowcom, it's not going for the boundary. We're not going to catch it, but at least it goes for the boundary. We'll be able to. It's going to fall in between us. We'll pick it up. We'll throw it in 2, 3 maximum. And of course, it's windy. It just got in the wind, and it just kept going for 6.
It is.
So then, games on them. Then really came down to the last ball. They needed 2 off the last ball to win, 1 to tie, and it came to my right. So they got the 1, but picked it up and finished. We got a winner, so we got a tie. So It was good. Disappointing not to win, clearly, because that sort of takes out that winning streak. But
still
unbeaten. We finished way top of our pool of our league. We should have a trophy for that, really, then a playoff system. But that's not how to do it. But it's quite good to have that tight game and a bit like if you like, a non-perfect game, because the previous 4 or 5 weeks we've pretty much outperformed them, demolished them. So that was good.
So the game on Wednesday is not league.
No, it was
before we go on to that one.
Yeah.
So what happens this weekend? Is still one more group game, or you?
No, that's it. So that's done. So we're now straight semis and a final.
Okay.
So we play tomorrow morning at Ajman, 8 AM, semi-final. I'll give you one guess.
Exars.
Yeah, Exars.
Right. Well, the question is, I believe you've been scouting this week. So has this new batsman / spin bowler been called up for the game?
I mean, I am not part of the selection committee. I'll take back from that. But I did put in my scouting report after some S Booth performance on the AstroTurf against the under-12 C team last night.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you lost 3 balls down in the car park.
Well, yeah, I brought 3 staff windows, but we'll not talk about that there.
Yeah, I don't think you made it, mate. So
what about the reverse sweep?
that was quite impressive, actually.
And I got it through the gate that we're talking
The
about.
biggest thing is, I know people listen to the podcast, they're saying, "Oh, it's boring, it's rubbish." He's clearly been listening and clearly been taking tips, because he was round the wicket with his off spin. He got the reverse out.
Oh, it was my tribute to Warney. I was proper in the face, screaming at the 9-year-old. I think one cried at one point. I actually saw bubble snot come out, but it's okay. It's okay. He got over it after I got bowled him out.
That's it.
It was a maiden over. I was quite happy with my performance. My batting partner wasn't much. I wasn't really going to let him go on, but
You ran him out.
yeah, I ran him out when I wanted to go back on the bat. But yeah, I thought.
But you've not made it.
All in all, I think I scored a 3
Went all right.
3 sixes.
Second 11 next year, mate. That's the one.
My goodness, I was on fire. I can't believe I'm not being straight in the squad. Right, so tell me about Wednesdays now. I'm just going to go and sulk, and I'm going to blow bubble snots now.
Not another one. Wednesday, yeah. So Wednesday's like a mini midweek tournament, JMR Platinum Trophy, I think they're calling it.
Okay.
Lovely little setup in Albertaya, which is sort of head out towards Sharjah and then come off into the desert. You go there, they've got a sports centre, they've got 2 sets of 2 grounds, and this is where we played, like little entrance, 2 nice grounds, picket fence around, viewing areas, barbecue pits for the family. Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Anyway, we played Middle East Metals, who are arguably the best amateur side in Dubai.
Does this mean you lost?
It means they pay everybody.
It means you lost, didn't
We
you?
did lose, but to be fair, we did really well, and we had I'd had playing for 3 years who Clint got a bowl to, and rightly so, and he went for about 20 something. Quite a small ground as well, and like Jay only bowled 2 overs, and then with the batting we had so much batting that like 2 lads come from Abu Dhabi, so they got a chance at the top. So we mixed it around a bit. So I think Clint was 8 and I was 9. So we were chasing 200 of 20 overs, which is a decent. We did well there because it's like so small. So it was only par, and we got 250, I think, something like that. So it looks heavy. No, for 8, I think. So it is a heavy defeat, but the process was better than that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And actually, if we'd probably gone with the batting lineup that he would have done if all things been equal, or if it was a Saturday game, then I would have been disappointed if we hadn't have won.
Just quick question, because this happened, and I forgot to mention this. Under 15 game,
Yeah.
we're doing all right with the ball.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're losing our best balls at some point.
Yeah.
And the manager from their team, their coach, retired the batsman to be a new batsman.
You can't do that unless it's injury.
He retired him during the game.
So they got a better batter in.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't do that. It's against the spirit of the game. If he was injured, like in our format of the game, you'd fake an injury probably.
Oh yeah, he wasn't injured.
Yeah, no, can't do that.
Wow.
But complaining. Do you expect anything different now from certain players?
No.
He was the one who was screaming at his men after 2 goals last week.
It was the same
Yeah.
effort. But very interesting.
Anyway, what about you? You played last night.
Yes, another victory. So
The run
the
continues.
run continues 54 now. So going well. Personal note, not happy. Not happy.
Poor performance.
No, I wouldn't want to say the poor performance, but didn't feed the booth. If you don't feed the booth, it doesn't score.
Oh, the coach. Who was the coach? Sean
Goat. So we started off, we went with a different formation, we went 4-4-2, but it was more like a 4-2-4.
Gaffer's making changes.
Yeah, so we went up, two up top, me and T up top. Literally a couple of minutes into it, ball's coming to me, I popped it off to T. T's played it around the corner for Emre to run through on goal. Emre's through on goalkeeper, should be scoring. Then has this wild touch, takes it almost into the keeper. And he managed to square it where Andy Deacon, our left winger's running for tapping.
Oh, that man. Yeah.
That man.
Questionable morals, that fella.
Yeah, when you look at fancy football team, that's all we'll say. So yeah, put us 1-0 up, and then a couple of minutes later, so again, some nice interplay, the ball comes into me, team makes a run outside the foot, into him, takes it on the chest, volley's in the bottom corner, 2-0. And at that point I'm like, this is going to be great, we're going to go and score loads, just need to keep playing the same way we are. And we just suddenly stopped, we just went sideways, just tried to control the game. Got caught with the ball, 2-1 down, 2-1 up, sorry, they score. Then we kind of like go back at them again a little bit, and then end up being 3-1, then 4-1. I thought I was going to score, so I flicked the ball over to T. He's got to the byline, and he's pulled it back, and I'm running onto it, and I'm thinking, goalie's out of position. I'm like, it's a tap, and I'm just going to take a touch. Steph ran in front of me and took it off me.
Oh.
And then he scored, and I'm like, no.
For the team though, Stu, team game.
You are correct, 4-1. And then they had one or two lively players. Left wing was quite quick, centre midfield was very good. And then I can't think how it built up. We were pinned in our area, or they were attacking down the left, and somebody didn't track the fullback as he came in, played the ball in, set it back to him, and he just killed a lovely shot to the far corner to make it 4-2. So 4-2 at half time. In control of the game, Gaffer changed his formation, shifts a few people around, new player turns up, Martin Fernandez or something, played Division 3 Spanish. Anyway, very, very good player, very nice technical, lovely on the ball, didn't lose it much. So I just thought, here we go, just get fed in at some point, so just kept feeling that they wouldn't pass it to me, and then when they did pass it to me, they all wanted to get it back, so you take a touch, you set, and then I move into another position to receive it back, and they just never got that next ball. Or when they tried it, it wasn't to the quality that it would have allowed me. So like, you're going, right, just roll me in here, and it's played short, so you can't run in, so you have to check back on yourself. And then Martin's had this lovely little run, and the whole pitch just opened up. Everybody just shifted left, and I ran round the back of the winger. He took his full back in. I was like, there we go, just roll me in, and it's like 6 yards short. And it's just like that night.
Well, that's frustrating.
And then I'm getting mad with myself, and then the referee's having a stinker as well, and he's itching to send me off last night.
How was that?
So our lad gets an elbow in the face, proper clocked in the face, and I've gone, ref, what's all that about? Referee gives a free kick. And then the lad looks at me and goes, I didn't touch him. I went, you just elbowed him in the face. He was like, oh, well, it was an accident. I went, well, if it's an accident, you go and check if he's alright. You don't stand there claiming you've not done anything. What do you mean? I went, check on him. He went, what have I done? And I went, you elbowed him, you
Bleep.
D something. The referee booked me.
Oh.
And I went, what? He was like, yeah, for swearing. I was like, oh, you are setting a bad precedent here. I went, you're going to book every single player that swears on this pitch tonight in adult football? Yeah.
Did he?
No, did he? Yeah. Their lads hit a shot over. Effing hell! Ref. No. What do you mean, no? Our lad makes a foul and then goes, oh man, effing hell, or something similar. Yellow carded him, and I'm like,
always there to get you.
So then I just went, I thought, right, I'll go over and have a chat with him. I said, ref, can I have a word? No. I went, look, I'm skipper. Let me just have a quick chat with you. I just want to just understand something. No, go away from me. And I was like, what? He went, you're English. You're horrible. You're English. And started calling my nationality.
Oh,
and then he was like, get away from me. You don't know the rules. I was like, I'm allowed to talk to you. I've not once raised my voice at you. I've never once shouted at you. I've just merely asked you questions. And then when you've not got the consistency, I've just asked what you're doing. And you're like, and he went off anyway. At that point, when I was like, don't say anything that's going to send you off. But guaranteed, if I'd called him by his nationality, red card, racist, the full Del Monte,
Correct.
but almost. So then
And rightly so.
the wife says to me, complain to the head of referees. I was like, yeah. It's great. Oh yeah, I can't.
He's the head of referee.
He's the head of referee. What on earth are you doing at that point? You're like,
So I'm expecting some of the same again on Saturday because that's twice
yeah.
I've played and this happened.
I heard white man smell sour milk. That's what I heard.
Lovely.
But yeah, so yeah, it was just one of them. Just one of them evenings. I came away mega frustrated. I think part of it is sometimes the way we go sideways. And I did say to centre midfielders, look, I understand we want to keep possession of the ball, and I understand why it's important. Sometimes we overplay and we cause ourselves issues because some of the lads don't feel as comfortable on the ball.
Correct, yeah.
And then the other times when I'm dropping in and their back line didn't come in with me, they dropped. So I'm dropping into an area where I've got 10 yards of space, just give it me and let's go forward with it. And that was my frustration. And then obviously you've also got that in the back of your mind going, this could be a goal feast. I could get myself 3 or 4 here.
All that chart.
And then be fighting for the leading goal scorer. So I think overall, team-wise, we played well in patches. Personal, I didn't have a particularly bad game, but at the same time, I didn't feel. I just felt a little bit frustrated. If anything. But end of the day, I'm just English.
That's it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right, you got a topic for me.
Right. So obviously, with what's going on Manchester United at the moment, there is all sorts of rumour mills flying about who is going to be the next Man United manager. So on the table, which I've just heard today, is the Ajax manager. I'll find out his name in a second.
I'll tag one.
Yeah, you've got Pochettino.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody touch him.
Interesting.
And then the new one, because of what is currently going on in the
Tuchel.
Premiership, Thomas Tuchel. So
It's interesting.
if you were Manchester United and you had them 3 options on the table, which one would you pick?
I think I would probably, as it stands out, if they're all viable options, I think you'd go for Tuchel, yeah, because
Guys won trophies.
yeah, correct, and I know he's not won the Premiership, and some would say yeah, but they've stalled this year, but all right, old John, yeah, they've stalled a little bit, but they're still going to finish in the top 4, top 3, which is and comfortably. He's won trophies with an English club in Europe, and it's one of those things that you would argue that there's lots of times, hasn't there, when and may not themselves haven't gone for Pochettino maybe when there's a split. How much did they really try and get him at his pomp or when he was confident in what he was doing? So I think of those 3, you'd go for them because the other one at Ajax obviously he's got reputation that Premiership's completely different.
Yeah. And you're working with probably the biggest, well, arguably one of the biggest clubs in Dutch football. So
Yeah.
So you expect it to be, it's a bit like Rangers Celtic.
Correct, yeah. So there's a, and obviously Pochettino, things haven't gone great for him since thing, and I don't know whether that is. I think he needs to come back in the Premier. You can't do what he did with Spurs and with Southampton, remember, without having something about it. Yeah, just go on.
No, let you go on.
But there's no doubt that his record at Paris Saint-Germain isn't good enough because you talk about that. It's a bit like that in there, isn't it? Paris Saint-Germain and that. Paris Saint-Germain.
You'd argue that how you come second with a squad like that is just.
But I do think that there's, and you've mentioned it way back, there's obviously more issues within Paris Saint-Germain, probably over and above him.
Yeah.
And perhaps he just can't get a grip of that. I don't know.
But which brings me back to Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
Because it all started him not being able to manage that group of players, and that was the reason that he moved on, and then Poch took over, and Poch has not been able to sort that change with that. Are we seeing signs of the same problems happening at Chelsea now with Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel can't manage the real big key name signings and sort out his dressing room because there have been cracks since the point where Lukaku really stopped playing and stopped scoring and he hasn't really scored and Chelsea aren't really free flowing as it stands. Alright, yeah, they did win 3-1 the other night, but they've not been the same Chelsea that we saw pre-November.
Definitely, yeah. No, they're definitely not. Because I thought there'd be a genuine 3-horse race for the
But it looked like Chelsea. I had Chelsea beginning of the season, the way they were playing as potential Champions League. Champions League.
Yeah, it's a fair point because, like I say, he's not managed. He didn't. The rumour is he left PSG because of the dressing room. So my argument would be, although I said of the 3, that's probably you'd go for. Would he be able to manage the dressing room at Manchester United? Because clearly, I think there's 2. Wreck-It Ralph he's not a manager, is he? He's a director of football, sport director, whatever you call it.
Which I thought he should have gone to Newcastle and built the project there.
And so it's a bizarre interim appointment in the first place, in my opinion. But it was almost like they needed him through the door to eventually move him upstairs. So there's that element to it, and clearly there's issues in that dressing room. And I said last week, anybody will say Ronaldo is going to be the cause of that, or the root of that. Not the cause, but he's going to be in that, isn't he? Pogba, we know, he's been going on for, well, how many years has he been back there for now? Since then, really. So again, does that fit with either of those? Poch or him going back there? So I don't know. There's Manchester United have got to strike while the iron is hot wherever they go, though. I.e., they've got to get that signed up. I would think before end of May, before Champions League finals are decided, because things can change so quickly, can't they?
Yeah, you're completely right. I'm just trying to think in the top of my head then who else is out there that's potential.
So the other one that's been mentioned is the guy Hassenthal, isn't it, from Southampton? But that's a bit like Potter. Then Man United cannot afford to take, in inverted commas, unproven manager there, can they?
It stems back to Moyes era, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They took an Everton manager then that they thought was going to be able to replicate Ferguson, which didn't happen. And
I still say,
you'd argue now that he's potentially your best candidate out there.
I still say that if they'd stuck with him and they'd backed him in that, and the fans have a bit of this to blame as well, backed him in that first transfer window. So instead he had to go panic buy Fellaini. That was the biggest problem.
That's unfortunately going to follow him for the rest of his career.
But I still think the fact of the matter is, yes, they sacked him. They've had other managers since, but have they progressed? And of course, to the point there, probably that even if they'd kept him, he'd probably have gone by now anyway, wouldn't it? It's that long ago now. But that is the issue. Since Ferguson, they've never really sorted it, haven't they?
No.
But I don't know that I really care, to be honest.
No, to be fair, the fact they're wondering.
I'm surprised you even asked me about it.
Yeah, it does make me giggle. But yeah, it's a strange old situation where
it is right. Yeah, it's bizarre. I find that the fact that they brought in Wreck-It Ralph to be a manager, I would have thought there'd have been better fact time leaving it with Carrick or something like that, and bringing him still and trying to develop that.
Well, Carrick would have been a better option in order to try and maintain the dressing room, but I believe Fletcher's role now is behind the scenes. It's him that's trying to keep everybody in place.
Obviously they're going to be gutted, except before they gutted that they got, because Conte was the one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where they were holding out for, hoping, and then of course he just appeared.
I was just trying to think about if there's any Italian guys. The only one that I know at the moment is Inzaghi over at Inter, but Inter aren't particularly going that well.
Gattuso.
So
what about the other fellow at Atletico?
What about Zidane? He's not doing anything.
On Atletico.
Well, I don't think that'd be a bad shout, Diogo Simeone.
Well, he'd sort him out, wouldn't he?
Well, I think he'd bring passion and fire, and he wouldn't mess about with anything. So it wouldn't be the worst shout.
Yeah.
Right, let's whiz through last weekend's games. So we've got Leicester 1, Leeds 0. Even though I watched that game, and Leeds played particularly well, and it was probably a little bit unfortunate to come off the wrong end of losing any points on that game. Could have easily drawn that. I'm not saying much about the midweek one, but we'll get to that in a second. Villa 4, Southampton 0. I don't think anybody would have preempted that, especially in our sporting prediction group. Burnley 0, Chelsea 4. I could see Chelsea winning it. I just didn't know by how many, and I just wondered if Burnley just kind of got a little bit of kickback in them.
I think this is the. I actually watched. Obviously, we get B in here, so that one of the Premier League shows that they do. And I can't remember who was on there now. And I actually agree with him that they said that they think this might be the year for Burnley. Although they'd had a bit of a minute. This was actually before that game.
Yeah, they had a
bit of a minute with obviously big Spurs. They had a draw. Did you with Man United? Did they? They'd almost took Liverpool up to a draw. And, but they're saying that there was this is the year, because they've got games in hand, but you need points on the board.
Yeah, I think for relegated teams, definitely points on the board. Newcastle carried on their fine form, almost championship winning form now. The 18 points out possible.
Yeah, there's our prediction going out the window that they thought they were actually planning for the championship.
Yeah, true. That was your
what do we know?
Yeah. Norwich 1, Brentford 3. I think that just signed, sealed that Norwich thought they could have any type of fight back. They would have needed 3 points at Brentford.
Good win for Brentford.
And then I'd say probably the shock of the day, Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2. because
Yes.
Wolves have been, again, that flying under radar, been doing pretty well lately.
I've got a shout for him. What about Vieira for Manager of the Year?
I think when we looked at the teams at the beginning of the year and the fact they lost so many senior pros and they brought in quite a lot of lads that we've never even heard of before.
That's my point.
They're
Like,
doing really
literally,
well.
like,
But then you'd argue that Wolves have potentially, they've lost.
he's done a great job.
Jota, Adam Traore's now disappeared.
I think that him's done a great job. Vieira, the guy at Wolves, can't think of his name. Vieira, obviously, Big Ralph, not Wreck-It Ralph, other Ralph at Southampton did a great job. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't think we look elsewhere for it. Why does it always have to be the people who win the championship and that?
Probably because they won some.
Yeah, but it's boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Progress, come on, progress looks differently
Oh.
from class to class, student to student,
Oh my God.
manager to
We're at an
manager.
interview now, mate.
What
Right. Liverpool won West Ham 0. I actually watched this game and we huffed and puffed a lot, and West Ham could have snuck something. You know, it just kind of that game where Liverpool didn't really put them to bed when they should have done, and then right at the end, Lanzini, the ball drops to him and it looks like he's going to hit it first time, and he just takes one of them just very delicate touches where it just keeps exactly where it was. Defender moves across and he's 6 yards out. He's got all the goal to aim for, and he just thumps it over.
Such a good player in at times.
Yeah, and then we moved to Sunday, which was a great day for the old betting slip.
Yes, I saw that. He went well.
I went double Arsenal to win, both teams to score, and City to win, both teams to score. And it did pay off, but Watford played very, very well. The strange thing is that Watford, alright, Arsenal, when they were on top, punished them. Watford then had a session of like really looking, put them under cosh, but just couldn't quite. It's probably that's why the difference between top, middle, and bottom of the Premiership, isn't it?
And the thing is, that'll be another manager for Watford come August.
Yeah.
Because Boy
Why?
is not going to keep him up, is he? So that'll be it.
Yeah.
That was another bizarre thing.
Yeah.
Of all the bizarre things that Watford do, to go back to a man who's 87 years old, with no chance.
But it's alright because they've got wheelchair access, so it's alright. I think it's a big set.
That'll be okay.
And then
Hearing
City,
loop in the ground.
yeah, City 4, Man United 1.
Oh, that's joyful.
Which was a bit of a strange game because City obviously got 1-0 up early doors. United get a goal back and were playing relatively well.
City were very open, weren't they?
Yeah, and I thought United looked a little bit dangerous, and I thought Pogba was having an alright game. He was the kind of one that got on the ball, even though United went with a really strange 2 false nines formation, which made no sense to me at all. And looked like they're going to be in the game, and then second half comes, City get a goal, Pogba gets winged, and then United just die. Pogba is so key to them playing football.
I agree with you.
And
he just gets pulled all the time.
60th minute.
I tell you who he is, and this is controversial, and I've pretty much said this since he come on actually, into Premiership. I think Fernandes, the Freddie Mercury lookalike, is Bob Average.
Big statement.
I just don't know what he does to. When he first joined in that, he joined just before COVID.
He's great at diving, he's great at crying, he's great at mourning.
And he's good at penalties. So when
not anymore, he missed against Fulham.
Oh yeah. So when he first signed just before COVID, in that January window, and he had a great 6 months. But honestly, over the last season and almost 2 seasons, I just don't know what he brings. Other than that, he would do my head in as a teammate or even as a fan. Get on with the game.
Yeah, it's almost like Ronaldo back 20 years ago, isn't it? And then Spurs turned up against Everton.
I actually watched it.
We did say, or I don't know if it was we said, but talked about Everton at Goodison are really good, but away from home, I worry about them. And I did say this ages ago when they were playing Frank Lampard. I thought they were papering over cracks with an inexperienced manager, throwing too much money at a situation which could go south very, very easily. And it is going south very easily.
He's only won 1-4, isn't he?
And it's Goodison. Anything on them travel, they really struggle with that.
I actually stayed up and watched it because we had that academic review down on Tuesday, so I didn't have to be up at 5:30 or whatever. And Tottenham played well. No, in our own way, very much a counter-attack side, but you use the tools at your disposal. We looked solid at the back. Dyer's made such a big difference going back in again. I think he deserves a recall to the England squad. Romero makes a difference, the other young centre half. We look more so at the back. Wing backs did well. Bentacle makes a difference because he's a bit more progressive. Kane and Son did their thing. I mean, Son's actually not playing all that well. His numbers are good, but I don't think he's ironically playing as well as he's done the last 2 seasons. And obviously Kane's in this last 4 or 5 weeks a different level again. So he played very well, deserved it. Could have been 8, 9, 10, quite honest. That said, Everton were abysmal. They had nothing up front, no presence up front. So even when they went there, it just came back off Calvert-Lewin, and then that meant obviously Carlson was playing a bit wide. I don't think he's a winger really, is he?
I can't work out his best position.
And then defensively, and this I think what you're alluding to, like an experienced manager like Frank Lampard, defensively they're all over the place. But I think it's more. But at the end of the day, he's playing 4-4-2. All those centre halves have played in a 4-4-2 formation since day dot.
Well, since 3 years old.
Even I know you don't suddenly get 80 yards apart on the pitch. When he pulled Keane, didn't he, at half time?
Well, so I chucked this out this morning in the office. Like, Everton go down. Pickford doesn't stay.
Yeah.
Godfrey doesn't stay.
Yeah, I don't think how good he is, but yeah.
I think he's a really good player. Holgate
makes
won't
sense.
stay.
No.
He'll disappear as well. Keane, would you, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't sign it. I think he's awful.
Okay.
Digne would leave.
Digne's already gone.
Oh yeah, Suarez, yeah.
Coleman would be the one, but I think he'd stay because it's the end of his career. He's at twilight. Allen, the Brazilian guy, I think he goes. I think there'd be a few teams looking after him. Decore, people would look after him.
Carlson.
Sigurdsson, the police are looking after it.
Yeah. He'll be an North camp player.
Richarlison wouldn't stay. Calvin wouldn't stay. What team would Everton have if they get relegated? And then you've got Dele Alli.
Yeah, it would also.
Could you imagine Dele Alli to play Championship?
Yeah.
What a 12 months that'd be.
I mean, that's other thing. I don't understand why he's signed him and not playing him.
Yeah, and then you got Van der Vaart that would obviously.
Van der Beek,
sorry.
Van der Vaart, what a player.
He was a player. Worth a mention at any point in any show.
I love his tweets now. He's on social media.
Was he giving abusing Maguire the day? He is.
Yeah. He just said it how it was.
Yeah. But then you've got the money they've invested in the loan deals, and obviously the purchases as well. That club could be in a world of trouble.
Exactly. And I did read very briefly this afternoon, actually, that obviously the stuff's happened with Chelsea last night about Abramovich, and I think we'll stay out of that politically.
I think it's worth waiting to see what happens in the next few days.
It'll be interesting. I think they're going to have a loop in where they can sell the club for the benefit of the fans.
I think that's what he's really trying to do.
At the minute, there's a government block on that, but I think they'll release that. But it will mean that we won't be able to get as much money for it. So they're still in desperate need.
I don't think he's that bothered about it, but then there's talk about a guy from America buying it, and he used to own an American franchise company, and they were like, this guy gets over, you are going to be the end of the days for Chelsea type of thing.
So, interesting. But there's some rumour about Everton being potentially in the same position, about their owners or potential owners or shareholders or something. And I don't know, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I think the problem is I think Abramovich tried to get out ahead of it because he knew that all Russian assets would be frozen. And then he was trying to get into that charity status, and then it wasn't officially run by him, but just frozen everything. And it's this poor thing about this is that we had this discussion in the office this morning. Again, this was another one. Was that there'll be no away fans because they can't sell tickets. So therefore, Chelsea are an advantage of playing at home.
Yeah,
because
a big advantage. Yeah.
And the only people who are going to be allowed in will be the season ticket holders. Even though nothing else can be bought or sold on match day.
And actually, as much as I would laugh with Paul at West Spurs and Chelsea, as much as typical, because everybody sort of, I don't know, I think we're all probably little green-eyed monsters sometimes when he came in and all of a sudden they went from winning stuff, and look, he's going as a football fan. They've given us great memories to watch. Like Didier Drogba
was
unbelievable,
class.
Yeah. But as a Chelsea fan, I do empathise with him, because the fact of the matter is, if you can't afford a season ticket or whatever, you can't go buy and ticket to watch your fan. You're being punished. It's not really your fault.
So we'll see what happens moving forward.
But Everton are in dire trouble.
Yeah. I just hope that Chelsea he doesn't get too far gone that they get relegated or anything along those lines. Because that'd be such a shame. Because like you're saying, is that it's not the owner you're punishing, Dan. It's the fans that have.
And also, I think it points back. And I know Gary Neville goes on and on about this, but I think it points back again to the fact that we've got to have regulators, haven't we? We've seen it. The fact it's affected clubs like Derby County and.
But I don't think
I
don't think you go back 15, 20 years when he took over and then preempt that Putin was going to go on that job.
No, but you'd probably argue that if they'd found that he had collaboration, let's say, with Putin, that would they allow him? Should he be allowed to abort anyway? But ultimately, it's irrelevant because he wasn't in place then. But I think maybe the time has come over this last 6 to 18 months that regulators of people owning clubs need to be brought in.
Right, we'll just quickly run through the results last night. You'll all be aware of them. Norwich 1, Chelsea 3, so big 3 points there for Chelsea in the tie, aim to take
no
off.
3 sponsorship anymore though, by the way.
Which will then tie them off for third place.
Yeah, I think they've got that sealed.
Yeah, I think so. Southampton 1, Newcastle 2, so again, another great result for Newcastle. Wolves, we mentioned about before, going under the radar, spanked Watford 4-0, not looking good, why? And then Leeds, even though I was impressed with them last week against Leicester, turned around and get spanked 3-0 off Villa. So Coutinho scores again.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going to be a massive stroke from Gerrard bringing it back in, showing him the love that he needed and wanted. Maybe the partnership with Luis Douglas in the middle of the park is helping.
I mean, that's what I was saying about he's done a great, and I've said before, Joe, when I first saw him speak when he was first took over at Rangers, like, this guy knows what he's doing. I think his record, he's going to show that. Well, I don't understand that. You talk about that. You talk about Man United getting the right person in terms of previous experience. Leeds have made it. As much as I think it was 100% the right thing to get rid of Bielsa, they brought in a nobody again who doesn't know the Premiership.
They brought in what's his name off Apple. Ted Lasso.
Yes. They brought in Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso's come in.
To play court. Want to play the court? Who's playing wide receiver?
To be fair, Ted Lasso did take a while before he got kicked in.
So Ted Lasso's at Leeds. And then what you talk about, Dele, just mentioned it quickly. Lampard said, I really rate I want to get his love for that. Not played him. Gerrard has brought Coutinho in and has played him.
It's not rocket science, is it? Right, it's fancy
Patience,
football.
I think, isn't it?
Fancy football. Do you want to quickly say how we're getting on the West Indies before we
the West Indies looks a lovely time. The fans are back and they're loving life in Antigua, as you can imagine.
Oh, I bet they are.
It's a bit of a turgid test match thus far. England got 300. It's the first time they've scored 300 for an unbelievable length of time. Johnny Bairstow with a great 100, which is good. My man Folkes got a good 40 odd, and he's keeping like a dream, like the dreamboat he is. But England are struggling to bowl them out. It is a horrible wicket to bowl, like very flat, slow, not turn, not pace. But Wood went down injured yesterday, so I think West Indies have got 30 odd run lead, 40 on lead with 1 wicket left.
If I was England and I was playing, I'd be like, get Booth on, let's get a bit of off spin there, just even float them over and just encourage them to try and hit big. And then we'll catch.
Do you know what they've done though? They'll just do this. Because they're not interested in playing a shot.
I'll be like teasing them. I'll be like a couple of short ones. So just like, I can hit this for 6. And then they'll catch it at the top end of the bat. Luffers will be there, and we'll drop.
No, safe as ass, isn't it? Catch your pigeons. Going into day 4 this evening, even in points, England should wrap the tail up, and then we'll see what happens. Because all of a sudden, England are then, the customary 40 for 4. They're proper up against it. So I don't know. But it's good to see Test match cricket back. Good to see fans in the Barmy Armour in full voice. And then the England women's team haven't done very well. They've lost their first 2 games in the Women's World Cup in New Zealand. So they've got it all to do to defend their crown. But see how this next week progresses.
Yes, right. I'll quickly go through fancy football so we've got it done and dusted. I'm just looking for you down near the bottom.
I'm not near the bottom anymore. I'm in the 60s.
It was a bad effort last week for you. Let's have a quick gander. You reckon you're you're 62nd. You've dropped a place. Shrek has got above you.
No!
Great news. I'm loving life right now.
Cheap.
You scored a mealy 63 points.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Old man has scored 75 points. Let's just
There was extenuating circumstances to my team selection last Friday afternoon, as you're well aware.
Yeah.
I didn't know what planet I was on.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Booth scored 103 points this week.
We had a bet, didn't we? What was the bet?
I can't remember what. We did have a bit of afterwatch back to the first one, but I've absolutely smashed you in Larks out the window. 103 points, but surprisingly, that did not win.
Good effort, 100.
But then Sam Hollidays jumped above me because he got 127.
Oh.
I was thinking, finally going to move towards that top 10 spot, and then, yeah, he's jumped above me. Oh, Ronell's had a stinker there, 39 points.
That's good Arsenal.
And then the top score, beat 127, was in fact 129, which, as I get there, I've gone past it.
He's very low down if he's 129.
129, wasn't that far. There we go, 20 seconds. So, Reyes Morgra with the team Julian Bagsman.
Oh, Julian Bagsman. Can you
Well,
remember?
it could be Julian Bagsman.
Julian Bagsman. Can you remember?
So, get in touch, you wouldn't.
Yeah, sorry. Before we finish, can you remind me? Harry Enfield and Chums. Do you remember Julio Julia?
Yes, the one that did half.
Aye,
man.
Yeah, man.
Well, we're going to go Brummy then.
Wait, man, I've seen Danny Bear.
Thomas Shelby.
No, he's a Brummy, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's what I thought you were going with.
No, I'm going to go with Geordie. The accents are the best.
No.
But Julio Geordie, I do remember that from Harry Enfield and Chums.
He was good.
What a character.
Great character.
And Danny Bear was alright as well.
At the end of the day, Jack.